Welcome back, y'all. It is the Drunk Capitalist here again, and I have another video. This one is more about how wild the housing market has become, and it's these smaller pockets that people are thinking, oh, this is gonna be cheaper if I go in this direction, not realizing there's traps everywhere in this economy, in this housing market. It's crazy. One of the biggest things I've been paying attention to, because I'm also someone that's looking to buy a home at some point. Who knows when that will happen given the current market conditions. But what I've noticed is that HOAs are crazy. Condo boards, crazy. Co-ops, maybe not as crazy, but way too strict and weird. And I feel like these community of people that are trying to basically take your money for almost nothing in return is a huge setup. I've been looking at HOA fees and things like that, and how they can basically take your home if you miss an HOA fee or you don't follow one of their rules that they have set up for you. I think it's all crazy. Now, I've looked at co-ops, but they're notoriously hard to get into in New York City because of the interview process. They gotta like you and all that stuff, and there's always something going on. Then I looked at condos, because unfortunately condos are a lot of times a lot cheaper than a single family home, and definitely way cheaper than a multifamily home. But condos come with condo fees, and they're kind of up in the air now. So like, we're gonna watch one story that's going on in I believe it's Miami, where condo owners, remember, because they own piece of the property, right? But somehow, like, I just don't know who comes up with these ideas. But the point is, this condominium residents, they are not happy with what's going on at their condo right now. Let's get right into it.
That's been a shocking assessment for one condominium in Miami this week. They're being asked to pay $175,000 each towards their 40-year recertification.
And this is a story we've been hearing more and more in South Florida. Residents tell us something isn't adding up, and tonight they're putting the blame on their HOA. CBS 4's Gabrielle Arzola is live in Northeast Miami-Dade with more on what they had to say. Gabby?
$175,000 per resident is crazy. Like, that's too crazy.
That's right. So for background, a 40-year recertification is done to make sure that the building is still safe and up to code. So it's not unusual that some repairs need to be done. But like you said, those owners say that they were dumbfounded when those repairs were at the tune of nearly $50 million. $50
million total for the building is insane. You might as well build a new building. Just build a whole new building with $50 million. It's crazy. And the thing of I gotta relax, I gotta calm down. Is pissing me off. But the whole premise, right, of you paying those condo fees and condominium fees and your HOA fees is so that they repair these things as you go along, right? They're paying to maintain the building. It's a maintenance fee, right? So they're collecting the trash. They're shoveling the snow. There ain't no snow in Miami, but if you're in a different place like New York City, they're shoveling the snow. They're doing this. They're keeping the elevator operable. Like, they're, mopping the floors and sweeping the hallways and, cleaning out the garbage chute, which I'm pretty sure doesn't cost $50 million, but like, they're basically paying a bunch of different bills. I know they probably also pay for like water and sewage and like gas and things like that, but you're paying the maintenance for these things. So where's the money, and why do we have to pay $175,000 each right now? I don't get it.
Shock, disbelief.
Shock, anger, and now searching for answers. Christian Murray has lived in the Palm Bay
angry
Yacht
for
Club
him.
condos since 2016.
This is crazy.
Now he and many other residents are worried if they'd be able to keep their homes. The building needed to be recertified, meaning an engineer needed to come in and see if the building needed structural and electrical repairs. Now, it's not uncommon that these things need to be fixed, but get this, when the property managers brought in their engineer, they claimed the building needed $46 million in repairs. So let's break this down. $46 million means that every condo owner needed to cough up approximately $175,000. Now keep in mind, the entire building itself is worth $50 million. So something here didn't sound right to them. So
that's what I'm saying. 50 million sounds like you building another building with that money. You're basically asking me to pay you a regular monthly maintenance fee. And then on top of that, when it's time for recertification, you're asking me to contribute to you building another building. Like, that's basically what you're asking. It's too crazy.
Hired a different engineer to do the same assessment, and they were told the building needed $23 million in repairs, a far cry from the initial $46 million.
To ask for $46 million for repairs is really extraordinary.
Attorney Jane Muir was hired by the residents to fight against the property managers. Upon further investigation, Jane says the engineer largely inflated the cost for repairs, and residents believe the property manager, called ACAM, is not only inflating numbers, but also wants to hire their sister company called Project Management Group to do the repairs, which would be a conflict of interest.
I want
huge conflict of interest. Doesn't even make sense.
the truth.
It's going to ruin people's lives. People are going to lose their homes.
And now residents are literally fighting to keep their condos, hoping their home sweet home doesn't go sour.
See, that's what I'm saying is the issue with getting into a condo building and like finding, like, they just throw a whole fee on you and say, yeah, you gotta pay this, or, you know, we can terminate our agreement with you and you know, basically foreclose on your home in our building, because that's essentially what it is. Even though you're a owner, you're not really an owner, and then they could do anything that can put you in a predicament where you get foreclosed on, and nobody wants to be foreclosed on in a housing environment such as this one. Like, when things are so high, interest rates are so high, there's so little properties available to be purchased. It's just too much and it's too crazy. And for the building to even get up to that point of how many repairs, even $23 million to me still sounds pretty insane. Like, what are we replacing? The condo building to me looks okay. Like, are there cracks in the ceiling? Is it that bad? Like, I mean, I know Miami is very like risky as far as like how wet it gets. Recently, like last year, we saw a building collapse because they didn't keep up with another condo building. They didn't keep up with the repairs and keeping the structure sound. So if it's that, okay, I understand, but I don't think it's right to spring such a price on people without any prior notice or things leading up to it, prior notifications, and then also a way to spread that payment out, because I think that just randomly getting up one day and saying, what is it, 175,000, or split that in half and make it like, what, you know, 85,000. I think to randomly spring that up on people is insane. Like, what do you think the entire building just got 85 grand to just hand over to you, or $175,000 to just give to you? It's just too crazy.
Golly, what a nightmare. So according to Jane, the attorney, if you live in a condo, here are some things you need to know. 1, be involved. Go to those condo association meetings. And 2, request documents on where your money is going. See who they're paying as well. And 3, if those numbers don't add up, contact an accountant. And if they still don't make sense, call an attorney. These folks' court date is set to start next week on Monday. Guys.
A lot of condo owners are
Absolutely, you got to do all that stuff. So now here's the follow-up to that situation. I guess the tenants, they all banded together and decided to figure out what's going on. Like they showed earlier, a lot of them banded together in order to get a different engineer to look at the problem, and then they found out it was only half of what the owners were saying it was, and the previous engineer who is in bed with the owners via a sister company. So we're gonna look at that, what's going on now.
Tonight's housing help. If you own a condo, you probably know about the 40-year recertification as mandated by the state of Florida. The building has to hire an engineer to make sure that everything is safe and up to code.
And I just want to mention, just super randomly, how terrible it must feel if you only just bought a condo in this building like a month ago, or a year ago, or 2 years ago. It's a 40-year recertification, but they didn't put any money aside for this recertification for the past 40 years. Like I would lose my mind. Everybody getting sued. Everybody getting sued.
Look at the building structure and electrical safety.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for there to be some changes done, but residents of one Miami condo say they were dumbfounded. Their necessary repairs were estimated to be about $46 million. That's $175,000 each. So residents hired a private engineer to do the same assessment. CBS 4's Gabrielle Arzola is live at the Palm Bay Club in Miami with what that engineer found. And Gabby, it was not nearly as much, was it?
That's right, Elliot. The engineer says it's not nearly as much, and he even said it was even difficult for him to find all of the structural issues that would justify that kind of price. So he's saying things aren't adding up.
I don't like injustices, and I think that that's what we're looking at here.
Injustice with the proposed $46 million price tag. The condos at the Palm Bay Yacht Club are due for a 40-year recertification, and residents were told by their property manager, called ACAM, that it would cost around $46 million to get all of the repairs done. Now, to put into perspective, that would cost around $175,000 per unit. It's a big chunk of change for condos worth around $400,000.
A lot of people who are going to lose their homes and be.
Whoa, the condos themselves are on average $400,000, but they're trying to charge you basically half of that to fix the building.
Homes, and it does not seem to be on their radar, on their conscience, that this will happen.
Sonia Prajul is an ICU nurse and says she feels like she's being forced out of her home. She can't afford to pay those repairs, and many residents feel the same. So they hired Huang to do a private assessment. With his 40-year background as a structural engineer, he says that number should be dramatically less, as he walks us through some areas that need to be repaired.
This is something that's certainly not uncommon.
Not uncommon at all.
He says finding large structural issues in the building was actually difficult.
It's a task to find the areas that are bad.
Property managers at ACAM say other items were included in the $46 million bill, like outdoor railings and impact windows. But Huang says those repairs don't fall under the 40-year recertification and should be paid for separately. Attorney Jane Muir, who's representing the residents, says the multi-million-dollar assessment is largely inflated.
My clients felt that that was evidence that they truly were just exaggerating the amounts so that they could maximize the money that they could spend.
So since this story aired yesterday, we've received a lot of comments on social media as well as emails.
Yeah, this building assessment list is basically what I was saying earlier and about the last video, is that you gotta pay attention to what are these people doing with the money that they're getting from you on a monthly basis, because you're paying for them to upkeep the building on a monthly basis and cover like the utilities. Where is the money going? You have to go to these meetings. You have to figure out what they're doing with the money. What are they talking about? Why are they buying railings? Why are they talking about new windows? Figure all that stuff out. Vote. Use your voting power. You have invested hundreds of $1,000s into this building, and you continuously pay, in addition to that mortgage, you pay a maintenance fee. You need to know everything that's going on in the building, because these people are trifling. Like, people are trifling.
Now, this really is not an uncommon problem here in South Florida. So if you own a condo, here are some things to look out for. 1, make sure you keep track on where that 40-year certification is. 2, check with your property managers and even the board and see whether or not there's a reserve to even afford these large payments. And 3, ask for documents. See where your money is going to. See what the board and the property managers are paying for. And if things don't add up, contact an attorney. Guys?
I would say, yeah, definitely. And if you're looking to buy a condo or get into a co-op or anything like that, you have every right to ask for those documents prior to purchase. You have every right, and it's in your best interest to look at the age of the property and also look at any repairs that need to be done, ask them about it, and also find out when they were last certified. Because if this is a government certification, 40-year certification, which is required by the government, then the government has a record of it. If that certification is coming up, I would say that's probably not the time to buy the property in that building. Because it doesn't make sense. Because if you're gonna have to run into issues like this, you get a condo for a steal, right? A steal at $400,000 in Miami, Florida, but then 2 months later they're hitting you with a $175,000 bill talking about repairs. We're gonna have an issue. We're gonna have an issue. That's it for me though. Thank you guys for watching. It's the Drunk Capitalist. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.